I might be happy in a moment,
Right.
but joy lasts, even in the bad times.
Tash, Robin, Dominique, I'm so happy y'all are here chilling with me and we get to do some truthing. My favorite thing where we just get to unwind, relax, sisters just sharing our truth. Because you know how it is, sometimes we were just talking about this earlier, like we don't really get to be our true selves. We have to put on that face, right? And truthing is meant for us not to have to do that. So typically I just pick out random questions, but because of Tasha's great book, I said, oh my gosh, we have to talk about one of the specific question, because I was like, oh my God, and I'm reading it and I'm like, yes. So I got hyped. So the truthing question I wrote was, have you ever considered what would make you happy? And this is specifically as Black women. Have you ever considered what would make you happy? Or do you think Black people are focused on surviving and not thriving? So we know, Tash, that you have considered
I have. Yes.
what would bring you joy and make you happy, because you wrote a whole book for us about it. So, I mean, what made you think about it? Because I'm just going to tell you, I want to start off it never crossed my mind until I'm 52 now. I would say within the last 10 years of my life. I think I was very much on auto drive. I just knew what I was supposed to do. I knew I was supposed to go to college. I knew I was supposed to graduate school. I was get a job and get married. And I don't even remember my mother saying to me anything about being happy.
Well, see, when you say that, I would empathize with that, because my mother didn't tell me either. It was literally in the last 10 years that I was spending time with people and recognizing that people around me were making the choices that made them happy, and I wasn't doing that.
Were there Black women around you doing that, though?
No, not at all. And to this day, I had a conversation with my girlfriend a couple of days ago, and I said, do you allow yourself to experience joy? What does that look like for you? She said, no, absolutely not.
Nobody got time for joy.
Yeah.
Joy is actually an awkward word. I think it's an awkward word for us. I don't even hear that word.
Yeah, it's awkward, and it's a word that when we feel like we should have it, but we feel guilty about having it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That. Do you feel like you should have it, though? I mean, you just said that, Robin, and you feel like you should have joy. I don't know
Absolutely.
if I even yet feel fully.
Yes.
Really. I don't think I fully feel consistently that I should have joy. Wow. I mean, I do believe in all the self-care, but joy is a different level.
It is.
Joy is different.
Well,
it is.
and so that's why the book is called Fiercely Joyful, because for me, and Tash's mind, joy is enduring. I might be happy in a moment,
Right.
but joy lasts, even in the bad times. And I have come to believe I deserve it, because what I didn't realize is it's a choice. I get to choose this for me. And nobody had ever introduced me to that idea. Don't know where it came from, but I'm sure glad that I got to that, because now I live my life with a different set of intentions, because I'm choosing me.
But you're choosing you and choosing joy, and you deserve it. But you can make choices to come to joy. But what I'm trying to do is, or figure out is, I think there's this gap when it comes to us of even feeling as if we deserve it.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say you feel you deserve joy?
I feel I've earned joy.
And did you feel like you had to earn it? Or did you feel you were born with the right to have it?
I know from a spiritual perspective, God intended for me to have it. I've always been entitled to joy because he gives me that piece of joy.
as his child. But society has made me feel like I've had to earn it. I had to work hard. I had to endure. I had to overcome. And I still try and find it and sometimes force it in spaces where there's so much chaos or so much angst and anxiety. I got to take a moment for myself and recenter and find that joy. And it's challenging most times.
Yeah, it is challenging.
And as Tash said, you have to be very intentional about it or it'll bypass you.
But you just said something like, based on your spirituality, that joy was intended for you. It's funny, we particularly talk about the majority culture being entitled. And sometimes I think, well, maybe they should be. Maybe we're the ones who've gotten it wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because I never forget, years ago, the economy crashed. I don't know if y'all know how long ago, 2008 maybe, I don't know. And my husband was a corporate attorney, well, still is, and he was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a job because the corporations that, were crashing and everything. And, in my mind immediately I was like, you know what? We're gonna sell this house, I'm gonna get a second job, we're gonna do that. And I'm like all this. And I went hiking the next morning with 3 white women. I was living in Marin County and there's like a lot of mountains you could hike. And I remember her saying like, and their husbands had gotten laid off already because they worked for, on Wall Street. And they were like, I don't know what he's going to do because I'm not giving up my Pilates. And it was very much like, I'm entitled. Like, so he's got to figure this out, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm literally the whole time like, ain't this some shit? Like,
Well, your hustler spirit kicked in on your
my hustle
side.
spirit's like, what we got to do? I could bake a little bit. We could sit. Right? I'm trying to figure
Trying
it
to
out.
figure out how to get your Pilates classes going.
Right. And so sometimes I say, when we say they're entitled, I've honestly been asking the question, maybe we should be more entitled as Black people.
I love that you said that because that is the frame of mind I'm embracing now. Why not? Why is it that you get but I don't?
Right.
Why? What makes you better or special that I don't deserve the same? And I refuse. I'm literally, and it is an action around joy and around happiness. It's an action. I'm refusing to settle for anything less.
But what made you
Because
ask
God
yourself
said
that
that.
question? But you say God. Okay, just real quick. Let's talk about the Black church.
Yes.
Because I was raised in the Black church. I'm super Southern Baptist. Okay. And I always tell people when you listen to our music, even it's soon and very soon we're gonna see the King. It's by and by.
Yes.
It's by and by now.
Yes.
Like we got to die to get to heaven.
Yes.
Right. We got to die. Now, my mom used to always say like Black people waiting to die to go to heaven, and white people have figured out that heaven is right here on earth.
Yes.
Right. And so I don't know. So do you think the Black church really gives us the feeling that there's joy right here, right now for us?
No, I think it goes back to what Dominique said about deserving and earning. I think, we've been, in a lot of ways, we've been conditioned to feel like in order for us to have something, it's a privilege.
Yes, Ron.
It's not that because we deserve it. And so it continues to be a cycle that if we don't break it, it just continues from generation to generation.
Yeah.
And we have to get back to feeling like, or knowing that we deserve this. We don't have to work to earn the same things that our counterparts get, privileged,
Yes.
And I think with the Black church, I grew up in the Black church too. And it was, if you don't do this, you're going to go here. And if, I'm like, man, I lived my life thinking if I made one wrong move, I was gonna go to the other part of the other part and not down here instead of up there.
Right.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
I'm with you. Well, but even now, I was going to say, we taught that in the church, but even with our friends.
Yeah.
Because I've had, because it's a culture, right? We're in the Black woman culture. So I remember I would take little weekend trips when my kids were young. And my Black friends like, he let you, he said, who's going to watch the kids? I'm like, the daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy.
Or he let you go there.
Or
He
he
let
lets
you do
go.
this.
And I always say, even we always applaud women who suffer. They're like, girl, you know, she stayed with that man 65 years. He wasn't no good. She's so strong. And we applaud that. And I'm like, why are we applauding her
That's awful.
for being joyless and giving up joy?
And so this is where I'm at. We know better now. Can we start to do better for ourselves? And why can't we embrace ease? Everything does not have to be labor for us.
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
It just doesn't. We have been conditioned to believe it has. We are in a place now where we have different sets of power to lean into. Can we now choose differently? I refuse to say I have to kill myself, bend over backwards, do all these things. Nope.
And you know what? I also think it's generational too.
Right, sure.
Because that little teenager that live in my house, she takes the title to another level, right? And so, you know, I
Girl,
can't
don't get me
mad at
started.
the time because I'm a little bit envious and very proud that
Wow.
I'm raising a young woman
Wow.
who feels she has every right,
Yes.
and she's very intentional about her presence and how
Yes.
she presents when she enters a room. She's in a PWI. She attends National Cathedral School, and she's one of very few minority girls. And I work hard every day so that she knows that she never has to feel insufficient, that she feels she's supposed to be there. And so she takes entitlement to school, but she brings it back home too. So, and I can't even try and shut it off because then she'll be confused. And I don't want her to be. I want her to still show up and present. But as I look at her other friends, they all have that same air too.
Right.
So I think we're working as parents in our generation to make that shift. And so when you talk about the distinction between Black women and white women, I think this generation that's coming up is going to equal that playing field. And I think it's going to be a bit polarizing for a lot
Do you
of
think
folks.
or do you think it's because she's where she is and she's seeing it mirrored in models?
So her experience is very different than say mine and my
Right.
husband's, right? And so we've worked very hard again to earn the joy we have, to live the life we have, and to offer her what she's experienced, and so she doesn't know any different.
Right.
Yes.
So I can recognize it because I know the other side of that. She doesn't.
Right.
And so entitlement is very natural for her. And so I'm almost hoping I'll be here to see the day of all of these women who are
I sure
walking
hope so
equally.
too. Well, let me tell y'all a story. I'm ashamed.
Don't be ashamed.
Because
Don't be
this just happened. It's before I read the book.